Awesome, Courtney. Thank you so much. That was awesome. And, I wanted to talk to you for a few minutes about some of the things that you said because, I've used the same accountant for the last, I guess 25, maybe almost 30 years now. And, knock on wood, I've never been audited because she does such a phenomenal job. And I think one of the reasons too is that I'm pretty, I guess, conservative on my write-offs because I'm not a very good record keeper, and I think that, one of the things that using a tool like Deductor does, like if somebody's using Deductor and they come to you to do their taxes, does that make it a lot easier for you as the person preparing the taxes if they got everything in Deductor and it's all, documented and they can, show it to you?
Yes, it is so much better. And I actually charge less if they're utilizing Deductor or another tax software because it just saves me so much time and effort. And I'll tell you this, I've had people take ledgers, just written ledgers and make their own expenses. And what I've only ever had one person audited in 18 years, and it was a hairdresser who decided to keep her own books, and she had no expenses in a tax software. It was on a ledger, a handwritten ledger, and they denied every bit of her expenses. And then I went back, re-entered everything into a tax software, resent everything that we sent the first time, and they allowed it. So it's such a big deal for you to keep track of your receipts. There are some rules out there that allow you to get by with an under $75 expense, but you need to keep that information in. It just depends on who the auditor is. Some are great, some are not. And, the more information that you have, the more your calendar is filled up with people, the better you are going to be if you were to ever get audited.
Absolutely. Well, I've got a couple of more questions, and then I'm going to open it up. Guys, if you have a question, enter it in the Q&A box. I think you should have a Q&A box, and I'm gonna get those over to Courtney. But I had a question about maybe a little bit more aggressive tax strategies or writing off things that maybe people don't think about. And my question to you is, if I go out to dinner or lunch with somebody and I'm trying to develop new business through that person, can I actually write that off as business development and advertising instead of a meal and take 100% instead of 50%?
No, the rule is if you are doing a presentation and you had a group of people over, then yes, that could be 100% tax deductible. But the rule, the 50% meal rule is pretty legitimate. Even if you went out and traveled, like I was in Los Angeles and Palm Beach and in Las Vegas in the last 9 days. And, I ate out a lot. So it's still 50% that you can write off. So and you can try it, but if you
let me ask you a question then.
They would make you pay it back.
When would I be able to use something and classify it as business development when I'm, when I'm looking for new clients and things like that?
If you were doing a bigger event, like at a venue, like a hotel or something like that, or if you were doing it at your house and you invited a group of people over, then you could do 100%. The other really great thing that in tax code that I love is if you have your spouse come along with you and someone else brings their spouse, then you can actually write off 50% of both of your meals. And the same thing with kids. So if you bring if my the person I'm going to speak to brings their kids, and I bring my kids with me, along with me to the event, so they can kind of take care of each other and talk to each other while we talk business, then that can be written off. 50% of all of the meals can be written off.
Awesome. Okay, one more question, then I'm going to start going to the questions that people have typed in the boxes. What about dry cleaning and my clothes?
Yes. So dry cleaning can be written off. Your clothes, the way the tax law reads is that the clothes can't be used for anything other than your business. So if you're buying uniforms and you're embroidering Experian on them, or you're embroidering your company logo on those are obviously advertising and can be written off. If you're buying suits and you never wear suits anywhere else, then that can definitely be written off as well.
Okay, so
And then laundry.
So if they buy Experian logoed shirts from us, then that's a write-off because that's advertising on their clothes.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you. Let's get to some questions that we have out there. This first one comes from Tanya. She says, "How about for renters write-offs if you're renting instead of living in the home and paying a mortgage?"
Yeah. So renting is actually a little better, because with a mortgage, you can only write off the mortgage interest, but with renting, you can write off a percentage of the entire rent.
Awesome.
Yes.
Next question. Can you buy a car with your LLC to decrease your taxable income?
Yes. And so I wanted to share this because this is the way I think through things. I wanted to buy a Tesla, and the new tax laws this year have become extremely favorable for you buying new vehicles. So, and it doesn't have to be new to you, it just has to be new. And the depreciation has actually increased 5.3 times. So I just want to break this down for you because I want a Model X and I'm going to buy a Model X. And so I had somebody tell me I was crazy the other day. They're like, "Courtney, you need to spend money on appreciable assets." And I said, "Well, what I need to do is I need to buy a Tesla, and then I'm going to save money because there's no gas in the Tesla, and it's 100% deductible in the first year," meaning that if you have a vehicle that's over 6,000 gross vehicle weight, you can write off 100% of that vehicle in the first year. And the Model X happens to be 100% 6,000 gross vehicle weight. So I can write off $106,000 in the first year. Plus, this year it actually changed to a $3,750 electric car credit. So it's gone down just a little. But because of that, and it drives itself. So I'm like, I need this Tesla. So it would actually get me back about $16,000 in credits this year and save me $30,000 in taxes because of the new tax laws. So literally I'm getting back $46,000 to buy a $106,000 car that I wanted anyway that drives itself.
Nice. I love it. All right. Next question comes from Cindy. "Can I hire my adult kids if they don't live with me? Also, isn't the wages I'm giving them a taxed amount for them?"
So you can hire any of your family members that you want. You can hire kids, you can hire grandkids. The great thing about them being under 18 is you don't have to pay the FICA taxes on them, and they don't have to pay FICA taxes. But you can hire them. They, obviously, typically your children are going to make less money than you, and you're giving them money anyway. So, instead of paying for their college, give them the money, pay them to work for you, and then they pay for their college. So they're getting the American Opportunity Credit, and you're getting 100% tax deduction on the business expenses from that. So if they're over $12,000 a year, then they would just pay taxes on that. But typically they're going to be in a lower tax bracket.
Awesome.
And as far as paying them, you would need to set up payroll through a payroll service. So, we offer that, and we're working directly, I'm working directly with the owners of Deductor to make sure that we are covering every basis that we can in the tax industry to help everybody.
Awesome. Next question. "How is it possible to hire your children without upsetting child labor laws?"
Child labor laws don't apply to your children.
Okay. Awesome. When driving to an event, and we got a big event coming up, guys. Hopefully you guys were on the webinar that we did on Saturday, and we've extended family reunion registration until Friday night at midnight, where you can actually get your tickets and just pay part of it down to get family reunion, which is a vacation and an event all thrown into one. So this is exactly what Courtney was talking about. And you have till Friday to register for that. and get the event ticket thrown in as part of the trip. You don't have to pay for it separately. It's all thrown in. So the question is, when driving to events for your business, can you deduct the tolls?
Yes, you can deduct everything for, so you have two things that you can deduct on a vehicle. You can either use the actual expenses, which are the interest on the vehicle. You can depreciate the vehicle. You can use the gas. You can use oil changes. You can do car washes. You can do all of your tolls are included in travel. So it's not even an auto expenses at all. Or you can decide to take 58 cents per mile. And either one that you do, tolls are not included. They hit travel instead of hitting the auto expenses.
Awesome. Your volume went down a little bit on your mic. I don't know if it moved a little bit away from you, but it went down a little bit. Okay. Next question. Is it possible to write off business expenses even when you aren't making money? I think you covered that. Yes, you can definitely do that. Okay. Is there an app or software that I could, let's see, is there an app or software that I could and keep track of my mileage from appointment to appointment? I think Deductor does that, right?
Yes, Deductor does that. Yes.
Yeah, Deductor does that. Deductor keeps track of your mileage from appointment to appointment. Tawana says, what about things like gym memberships, hairstyling, makeup?
So like for me, speaking engagements, if you're going to speak and you had your hair done and your makeup done, yes, that could be tax deductible. As far as gym, if you're going to the gym to meet people and that's a networking event for you, then yes, you could write that off as well.
Awesome. If you have your home in an LLC or in a trust, can we rent from the entity to maximize a deduction?
Yes, you can rent, but you have to claim the rent as a Schedule E on your tax return. But yes, that's a really good idea. I do that for a lot of my clients.
Awesome. All right. Here's one that says, if I've been audited and I sent in info to the IRS and they denied my information, where do I go from there? Hire a CPA, call the IRS to understand, or just hire someone to help? My past tax preparer was helping, but they still denied the info I sent in.
I would definitely I would not contact the IRS for any reason. I would have someone else to do that. Take that from me. Do not contact the IRS. Have someone help you with that matter. And we do handle that as well.
Awesome. And we can write off airline tickets, airfare?
Yes, all travel can be a tax deduction. Yes, 100%.
Okay. Question. I thought a certain square footage was needed, such as an office, if renting in order to write off.
Correct. So you would write off a percentage, which would be the square footage of the office divided by the square footage of your total living space. And a lot of people don't realize that living space excludes closets and hallways. So you can actually get a lot more square footage, a lot more percentage if you deduct the hallways and the closets out of the house.
Awesome. Here's one that I want to know. This is a good question. How do I write off a vacation home?
A vacation home. So, well, one thing that you this gets a little tricky, but if you had events there and invited people over, that could definitely be a way. If you are building a team in that location, then obviously that would be considered. You could at least write off a percentage of that. So, instead of me paying for a hotel room in Florida, if I had a home in Florida, then obviously that would be a lot more beneficial for me. And so that would be a tax deduction.
Awesome. Question, is this being recorded? It sure is, guys. This is being recorded and we'll have this available for you guys. Two more questions, and then we're going to let Courtney go. How would the tax deduction help and or work for someone who's disabled?
So the great part about, it's not great about being disabled, but businesses do not affect disabled persons. So you can actually create an income and you have expenses from a business. So you don't have to worry about losing your disability. I have so many people that are so worried about that. So you don't have to worry about that. It's W-2 income that you have to worry about, not business expenses. So you still get the same deductions that everybody else gets.
I've heard that quite a few times in presentations. I've come up to somebody's come up to me and says, well, I can't make this much money because I'm going to lose my disability.
Yes,
And so that doesn't apply to a home-based business.
that does not. No, sir.
Okay. Last question. Hope this has been very beneficial to you guys. I know I've enjoyed having Courtney on. Can you claim the home office deduction even if you claim a loss on your taxes?
Yes, but you can claim it, but what it will do is it will carry forward that loss for just the home office portion. So it's only going to allow you a certain amount and it'll carry it forward. But the great thing, if you don't need the loss this year for something, you can actually carry it forward now forever. So, typically a business is not supposed to make money for the first 3 out of 5 years. That's what they tell us when we start a business and when we go to school. Don't expect to make money 3 out of 5 years. But what ends up happening in network marketing is you start making money, a couple months in or 3 months in or, immediately. So, it's typical for us to have these expenses. I tell people all the time, understand that Ford Motor Company probably never had a increase in income. They probably never had a actual net income for 3 to 5 years, if not longer. So
Sure.
you qualify for every single business deduction that they have as well. So just because you're small doesn't mean you get the same deduction. You don't get the same
And I
deduction
think
as everyone else.
absolutely. I think one of the points that you made, which is really important, is guys, the tax code is set up for people to go out and start businesses. The government wants you to own your own business. They would not give all of these tax breaks to people unless they wanted you to own your own business. And if you think about it, owning your own business means that you are independent and you're not reliant on somebody else. So we're creating independent people that can generate their own income, but at the same time start businesses and provide other jobs and employment for other people. So a lot of people get really frustrated, I think, because they think that only rich people get to take advantage of all of the tax loopholes and tax deductions that are out there. And the reality is, like Courtney said tonight, anyone can take advantage of these. And I think this becomes such a great recruiting tool when you're out talking to people, because now it's not just about showing people the benefits of our membership and how they can save money on travel, but literally we can show people how they can save anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 a year just by owning a home-based business. And we can do that really easily, especially if you've created your own story. It's so easy to tell somebody your own story about how you did it instead of telling somebody hypothetically how it may work for them. If you haven't done it yourself, it's hard to share with people how this all works. And so that's one of the big reasons that I started this user group and really wanted to focus on taxes in the beginning of this financial education, because I think this is the piece that most people fall down on and miss out on, that you should be saving $4,000 to $8,000 a year, even if you don't make any money in your home-based business or with Experian. And it's a huge benefit just being part of our club. So again, I want to thank Courtney for coming on tonight. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing this information. I know it's been a huge benefit to everybody that was on the call tonight. Guys, make sure you go out and get Courtney's book at morerelaxinglesstaxing.com. We're also going to have this webinar available in recording so that you guys can watch it again and share it with your teammates. And we will see you guys next month on, I believe it's going to be March 4th. It's going to be the same date as February because we have fewer days this month. But thank you guys for being on. And Courtney, thanks again so much for coming on tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Have a good day.
All right. Good night, guys.